I like the idea that a voice can just go somewhere uninvited, like a dirty thought in a nice, clean mind.
Welcome back to the Liberal Lens. I'm Jay. Let's talk about the Senate unanimously passing the bill for the Epstein files to be released, and now it's sent to Donald Trump's desk to be signed. And let's talk a little bit about why this is not veto proof, which made me a little nervous when I first saw that they passed it unanimously, because that means that there was no official tally, no roll call. So it doesn't guarantee the 67 votes that were needed, even though it was voted unanimously. It doesn't count as that veto proof passing of the bill. It did in the House, but in the Senate, they just passed it unanimously without taking a vote with roll call and tallies. So the 67 isn't guaranteed. If Trump really wanted to, he could still veto this bill. I don't think he will. I think he almost has to sign it at this point, because it's almost committing political suicide, right? Because you have part of MAGA who's upset, wants to see the files. This is what they ran on, and they've been defending him to the end. So if he bails now, they look like assholes and they're going to be upset. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene on the other side, taking the charge with this civil war in the middle of MAGA right now that's going on. She's charging from one end. You got some of the MAGA upset about the Epstein files. And I don't think that with all that pressure, Trump can veto it without committing political suicide, but we'll see. We'll see. He still has to sign it. And I keep getting hit with this by a lot of people. So let's address this real quick. I keep hearing Bill Clinton, Democrats in the Epstein files. I don't know. I can't speak for every liberal, every Democrat out there, but the ones I know and the majority I know, this isn't about the politicians. This is about the victims. We don't give a fuck who is in the files. We just want them to be held accountable. And will some of these people get off without being charged because of statute of limitations? Sure. But they shouldn't be out here living a great life without everybody knowing exactly what they did. They need to be held accountable. These victims deserve justice, or as much justice as they can get at this point. And the fact that people are arguing on who's in them and why they're defending people who might be in them, and you got Meg Kelly already trying to normalize people being with 15-year-olds, which was fucking wild in itself. Like I said, can't speak for everybody, but the majority of people I know on the left, we're not giving a shit about the politicians. We don't care about the rich people in there. We don't care who is in the files per se. We want them to be held accountable. We're not going to protect them. We're not going to defend them. To go as far as to defend somebody who's in the Epstein files would just be crazy to me. I don't care if Bill Clinton's in there and ends up getting punished. Like, I hope nobody's in there, but we obviously know there's victims, so there's people in there. But, like, I'm not here trying to protect Clinton. I don't give a shit about Bill Clinton. I don't give a shit about anybody who's in those files, except for the fact they need to be held accountable. So what's going to happen next? Will Trump sign this? I think he will. But let me know what you think. Drop it in the comments. Let me know if you think Trump's going to sign this or not. I think we're in for a wild few weeks to months, because that's a lot of documents to go through. So as more of it's coming through, and they'll sift through this and they'll start releasing documents and names, and we'll start to learn more and more about the financial aspect of what's going on in the Epstein files, because that's something that doesn't get talked about a lot, that there's some illegal financial shit going on in there. The Russia connection with Epstein, Trump, and Russia, that was already brought up in the Epstein estate emails. We already know that Epstein said Trump knew about the girls. We know that Trump was left alone in Epstein's place with underage girl. We've heard the Katie Johnson court documents be read, or people have went out there and read them. But if you haven't, I dropped a video where they were read so that you could listen to them, because a lot of people didn't want to read through them. And it was horrific. It was really horrific to listen to somebody read those. It was bad enough when I read them myself, but to hear somebody else actually read them was so much more disturbing. And to hear it from a female, it kind of touched home. And I think people should go watch that if they haven't, because it really kind of hits home more when there's a female reading the awful shit that happened to this poor little girl. And it kind of like, you know, sets it in your heart more. Like you can't really unhear that. But there's a lot that's going to come out. Some people are nervous right now. I guarantee you that there is billionaires and politicians and maybe athletes, who knows, that are out there really worried about these files coming out. But again, beyond the sexual predator of it all, because this is where it started with Epstein, you know, trafficking women with Maxwell and young girls. And I don't know if this is true, but there is some reports that there's leaks out there that Trump was well, this is true. Trump was running those Teen Miss America pageants or whatever at the same time Epstein was trafficking teen models. So we'll see if there's any connection there, because that's what's been leaked. Like I said, I don't know if it's true because that's just shit you read on the internet, but I see more and more people posting that. But we're going to find out. We're going to find out with these release of these files. How bad they slow play it, I don't know. I know people were really upset and worried that they're going to scrub these files and whitewash them. They could try, but like I talked about in an earlier video, there's too many people who have seen the files, right? Christopher Wary, the former FBI director, James Comey. There's other people who worked in the FBI. There's lawyers of the victims who have seen parts of the files. There's stuff that was released from the Epstein estate. So I think there's enough people and information out there to make sure that they can't really whitewash these files, but we'll find out. But now that it passes, and as soon as Trump signs this into law, any lawyer who disregards this can be charged. This becomes criminal now. So like before, it wasn't criminal to act like these files didn't exist and that you were just carrying Trump's water. None of that was illegal until now. As soon as this gets signed by Trump, it becomes illegal to like redact names that aren't protected under the victim part of the bill. They have to follow that. Like there is provisions in the bill to protect the victims. But beyond that, there's nothing that they can do to these files that wouldn't lead to criminal charges if they try to cover it up. Now, don't get me wrong. We are in a weird place where Trump can just start pardoning people, which would be the most Trump shit ever. But also, again, at what point is it complete political suicide to start defending billionaires who have done a bunch of nasty shit? Jeffrey Epstein. We got the reports that Elon might be in there. We'll see. Like I'm saying, I don't know. These are just stuff that's leaking out to the internet right now. Is Elon in there? Who else is in there? This is the stuff we're all waiting to find out. And again, it's probably going to trickle slowly because there's hundreds of thousands of documents that have to be gone through. But this is the first step in the right direction. Like I said, makes me a little nervous the Senate did it the way they did. But we'll see what Trump does, because this still gives him an out if he wants to veto it. But again, would he do that? Would it be political suicide? That's the stuff we have to find out. That's the stuff I want you to answer in the comment. What do you think? Do you think Trump will sign the bill? Do you think if he didn't sign the bill, it would be political suicide? Do you think Pam Bondi and them are back there scrubbing these files, even though there's enough people who could probably figure out that something shady was going on and now it becomes illegal? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think is going to come out of these files, or what you've been hearing on internet rumors. I always like to hear the rumors. Now, let's not post them as fact, but if you heard something, drop it. I'd like to read it. I read the comments. But thank you guys all for the support you've been giving on Facebook. I appreciate it so much. Like I say on every video, go subscribe on YouTube, because we're one video away from getting kicked off of Meta if we say something that upsets people. So also, big news I wanted to let you guys know. Yes, my boy Maddie from the UK is going to be doing some videos coming up. He's teaching right now, and he travels the world to teach. So it's just about finding some times to drop a video, but they'll be coming. Also, I have Dr. Tyson, who is Neil deGrasse Tyson's nephew, coming on. He is a professor in Philadelphia. We are going to talk about everything that's been going on with this administration, what he's seeing on the East Coast, how he's seeing it affect the university students, and like all around, like how he's seeing the policies affect different things from an educational standpoint. So stay tuned for that. That'll be coming. And again, I just appreciate you all. So one world, one love. Deuces.
Everything's polluted. The environment, the government, the schools, you name it.
This radio person is the whole problem. Are we going to allow this guy to be heard by anyone who can turn a dial?
You out there? You listening?